Hi, I'm Dexter of Valma International, and I want to talk to you today about emotional intelligence. What exactly is emotional intelligence? Do we really need it? Does it help? Does it matter to be emotionally intelligent? How can we more understand the competences of emotional intelligence, and how can we practice it on a daily basis? So, let's first take a look at the human brain, from which all intelligence, including emotional intelligence, originates. The mysterious mind is embodied in the baffling brain. Have you ever seen a human brain? Well, it may look like a big lump of jelly, but it in fact is made up of a lot of different parts, and each of these parts are responsible for different functions and for controlling and delivering against different aspects of our life. No two brains are the same. Did you know that? Just as everybody's fingerprints and retinas are unique, that they are used today to identify you individually, well, so are our brains. Since different parts of our brains are responsible for different types of thinking and feeling, and since the synaptic neural network that routes information around in our brain is unique to each of us, we have different kinds of hardwiring, well, it shouldn't be any surprise to you to realize that our individual character and our personality is in fact directly linked to the uniqueness of our physical brain. So what is the mind then? Dr. Daniel Siegel, who has written the wonderful book called Mindsight, says the mind is both embodied and relational. It's embodied because it's a physical brain, and it's relational because it relates us. He says it's an embodied and relational process that regulates energy and information flow. As you can see, we have the left and right brain, which basically is the simple way of looking at it, where the left brain is the logical brain, the right brain is the creative brain, and yes, there's a lot of information that flows between these two parts. Of course, we used to joke around saying that our accountants come with a huge left brain and a peanut-sized right brain, and all the artists and creators and sculptors and painters of this world come with a gigantic right brain and very little in the left brain. But it's really not true. We both have left and right brains in equal measure. It's just what we prefer to use. Where do our preferences lie? Now, the three-brain theory, or the triune brain, was proposed earlier in life by Paul MacLean. And he says the reptilian brain came about 100 million years ago, when our ancestors in the cave were concerned about safety and needed to survive. The limbic system came about 50 million years ago, which is about emotional safety, security, feelings that drive us into certain actions, which are managed by the reptilian brain. But the latest brain, which is about 2.5 million years old, is the neocortex human brain, which is really what helps control and manage our behavior, actions, and regulates our thoughts and flow of the information that comes into the brain and how it gets processed. So these three parts of the brain contribute to what we do today, how we behave, the human being. The limbic brain, which you see here, is something you will see quite often when you're studying emotional intelligence. And the amygdala, which you see right over there, is the seat of fear. It is the one that triggers our emotional brain into overdrive. But perhaps if it is connected to the thinking brain, then the thinking cortical brain processes the emotions that come from the limbic system and allow these emotions to become emotionally intelligent. Well, what are emotions? As you can see, they begin in the mind and represent themselves finally on our face and in our body language. Yes, emotions are actually brain chemicals. These brain chemicals are the ones that hardwire our neural pathways, which become what we use when we are faced with certain circumstances which we need to react and respond to. The famous four brain chemicals are serotonin, dopamine, adrenaline, and cortisol. And these, among other neurotransmitters, neuroactivators, neurorepressors, and other chemicals which congregate together create these unconscious patterns or pathways of thinking which influence our habits, behaviors, choices, and decisions, and therefore our character and personality identify with this, and we are known by how we behave. So often we are known by our brain chemicals, although we don't realize that. Now the challenge is to be able to use these 8 families of emotions to create positive outcomes. As you can see, all the purposes of these 8 families of emotions are positive. However, we tend to think of them as happy, sad, positive and negative, but that's really what we do with them that creates that kind of an outcome. And what we need to really work on in this is how we can get to the positive outcomes by navigating ourselves through these emotions, by recognizing who we are and what we need and what we like and don't like, communicating mindfully through this level of awareness, making decisions based on these things that are important to us, being motivated, understanding ourselves and empathizing with others, and creating strong connections that build relationships that can deliver the results that we are looking forward to achieving in life. 6 Seconds is a multinational organization headquartered in California, USA. They are acknowledged as the world leaders in the area of emotional intelligence. 6 Seconds has a framework called the KCG framework of emotional intelligence, which revolve around 3 pursuits and 3 critical questions. These pursuits are know yourself, choose yourself, and give yourself. That's how you get the KCG. This framework and pursuits helps us understand emotional intelligence better and how we can apply it in daily life. The 6 Seconds EQ framework revolves around 3 pursuits. These pursuits are know yourself, choose yourself, and give yourself. And that's how it's called the KCG framework or the KCG model. Note the word yourself, not others. Now, know yourself is all about awareness, self-awareness. Choose yourself is all about what choices you have. So that's intentionality. What are you going to do with the options you have? And give yourself is all about what do you want to contribute to the society, to the world that you want to build. So know yourself, choose yourself, give yourself are the 3 major pursuits in the framework. Now, what's know yourself? Know yourself has 2 competences which talk about enhancing your emotional literacy, which means can you label your feelings and recognize patterns, not just know your feelings, but when you have them, with who you have them, how often does this happen, is it becoming an unconscious pattern in the way you behave and relate. So 2 competences in the know yourself, followed by 4 competences in the choose yourself framework, which is about applying consequential thinking, which is pressing the pause button to consider the consequences of your actions, to navigate emotions and ask yourself, do you succeed at working through issues or are you bulldozing through them? And motivation and optimism. Is your fire burning? Do you feel good about yourself or do you need others to praise and reward you? Are you an optimistic kind of person? Are you a joyful person most of the time? Or are you depressed? And give yourself is a vital cog in the wheel, in the KCG wheel, because give yourself is all about connecting with people, increasing empathy, putting yourself in other people's shoes, pursuing noble goals, because noble goals defines the canvas of life. So empathy is 1:1 and pursue noble goals is 1, that is you to many. How do you create a society that you want to create as a legacy, the gift you give the world? So this tells us that we have choices, because when we press the pause button, we can actually choose between stimulus and response. We can choose with what's happening to us and how we want to respond to it. And therefore, on an everyday basis, everyday EQ is nothing but simple everyday choices, decisions, and practices in order to intersect and integrate our lives, hopes, and dreams with those of the people we work and live with, including people at work. Warren Bennis clearly believes EQ has much more water than IQ, and it's something that we need to keep in mind as we go ahead. I hope you've enjoyed this mini session on emotional intelligence. No doubt there's a lot more to say about it, and I hope you can keep in touch with us or attend some of our seminars and workshops where we will definitely talk a lot more about emotional intelligence and how it applies specifically to you. So this is Dexter of MyBrain International signing off, wishing you a great day. Do check us out on our website www.valmainternational.com, or catch us on Facebook, or you can catch me on LinkedIn. And if you like what you've just seen, do subscribe to our channel. Thanks again. See you around sometime soon. Bye for now.